push the back of the.
Yeet.
Yeah.
There we go. I guess we're live. Sure.
What?
Yeah, we're live. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Yo.
Can you share live? I think so. There we go. I wonder if we can do this too. But we can do our slides. You know.
Oh, on that one.
Yeah, that's the last thing I need to get is a couple. We're live.
Sure. All right. Good morning. This is Jon Johnson, and Austin is somewhere else. But we have Gabriela Cernas Frantz. We have Tanya Canarte, and this is going to be the real estate mortgage market mastermind for February 2023. All right. Hey, there he is. What's up, Austin? It's nice to see you showed up, man. It's good to see you here, bud.
Hey.
All right. So let's go on here. We're going to knock this out. We're going to go over some real estate news, some mortgage news, some things that are hot, some things that are not. And we're going to be able to really see what's happening in the market right now. So the goal of this YouTube page is to help people gain debt-free living through home ownership. That is the main reason. That is the only reason why I'm in the mortgage space. And that is the reason why I'm doing this video right now, is to help you become debt-free through home ownership. Before starting, just want to hear from you all. What is something that has been on your mind lately in the industry?
Rates. I've been pricing some, well, it's lower loan amounts, but they're better rates for the lower loan amounts.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Some of my buyers are able to buy now.
Yeah, you don't have to be the bearer of bad news on every phone call now. You can.
Exactly.
I love it. Austin, what's been on your mind lately?
That time might be running out on the Hometown Heroes program. That we're more than halfway through.
Yeah.
So, trying to get the word out as much as possible.
Yeah, we're hoping that they'll extend that. Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's been going on for, close to a year now. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But overall, we'll see how that goes, man. Because this is a great program for people. Hometown Heroes, if you don't know, very quick synopsis of it. 5% of the purchase price towards down payment assistance for buyers that are either firefighters, nurses, doctors, teachers, even some massage therapists, just different personnel that are in the service industry. They're giving you some money towards closing. Not some, they're giving you a lot of money towards closing. It is $400,000 loan. That's $20,000 towards closing, which is a very good thing. The rates are good on the program. There's not too many stipulations, high income amounts. It's just overall good program. So we're hoping that it stays together. Gabriela, we missed you last month.
Sorry, scheduling issues. Sorry.
Hey, that was my fault. I apologize for it. Why am I doing that? I apologize. It was my fault.
Don't apologize.
It was my fault.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I would have had a conflict, but I'm glad that I was able to make it for this month.
Sure. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
So something I've been seeing out in the field and also with the calls that are coming in is that we are getting definitely an increase in pre-approvals. We, as a company, we had more pre-approvals last month. And the last time we had that was back in March of 2022.
Yep.
So that was the big number. Meaning that we did have a significant decline in the last quarter. Also out in the field now, because I do like to go out and do open houses with, realtors, and hearing some of the feedback from the buyers, it's mixed. They're either getting information from friends, family. It doesn't seem to always be like they're getting it from professionals, which is kind of what we expect. A lot of the times is that we get information from, people that are not always in the industry. Also that buyers are more they're taking their time in making decisions to purchase.
Not as anxious.
Yeah, they're not as anxious as they were maybe 2 years ago. Homes are a little bit longer on the market. Realtors are having to reprice, just to make it a little bit more reasonable, rational, whatever verbiage they want to use. Because a lot of times they are considering the seller wants to sell it at a certain number, even though the realtor says, the market's maybe indicating we should maybe look at another number, but they're willing to do that higher amount listing price and then say, hey, look, if nothing is happening in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever agreement they put in place, then they do a price reduction. And a lot of times realtors take that as a like, oh, I didn't price the home right, but we're just in a different market. It just makes sense. It's a strategy that they're using at this point.
Well, it sounds like a normal market, right?
Yeah, we haven't seen this in a while.
Yeah, people aren't used to
Yeah,
things being normal,
yeah, new normal.
Yeah.
Normal, new
Hey,
stuff.
I love it. So thank you for sharing, Gabriela. That is the sentiment right now, is that people are getting more towards the normal situation. Some people are, in my opinion, more on the other side of that, like, oh, we're going off a cliff right now. But like you said, we haven't seen normal in the past couple years, so it's going to be exciting to see. We still don't know where it's going to turn out because this is the market time. Things that have happened in November, December, anything you've read in the news over that period of time, that is not real estate market season. Yes, homes still get sold during that time. Yes, people still refinance during that time, but that is not the time where it's like the majority of transactions are happening. Transactions start happening now. People start getting pre-approved around this time, and then sort of towards spring, early summer, that's when the majority of real estate transactions happen on a yearly basis. So we're not going to know what the market is really like until we start getting more towards those months. But we'll have some data to show, what it's looking like currently. What's on my mind? Still affordable housing. I know I've been on the mobile home kick for a minute, but I'm actually getting more into accessory dwelling units right now. I keep trying to find the next level of affordability, easiest use, smoothest situation for people. And my mind has really been on accessory dwelling units because people do have space in their home. Whether it's your mom's home, your cousin, your grandma, whoever else, and especially you get more rural, they start having a ton more space. But yeah, being able to put an accessory dwelling unit behind the property, that's at an even more affordable price point than someone trying to get a mobile home. This thing is a newer situation. So I know kids that are 18, 19, 20, 25, they don't need 2,000 square feet. They don't need 3,000 square feet. Honestly, 500 square feet, but it's comfortable, it's updated, it's open. You can go pretty far with 500 square feet. So that's where my head is at right now.
My first apartment was a studio apartment. It was about that square footage.
Yeah,
it was a studio apartment because there was no door for a bedroom and stuff. But yeah, I loved it.
If you don't have 3 kids, it's not going to be a situation for you. What were you saying, Austin?
I think I asked this before, but that's like a mother-in-law suites and
all of the above.
All the above.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be detached. It can be attached. Mainly detached though, but it's pretty much adding an additional unit to your home. You got to check the zoning for where you're at. But honestly, a majority of places already have accessory dwelling units into the zoning, so you don't have to get special permits for it. You can be able to build these things. If you're trying to make it, the foundation at the level of a home foundation, which you can do that with many of these, that's when you may have to start getting some permits and things of that nature, and the process gets a little bit longer, a little bit more expensive. But there's ways to make this happen to where you can do it in an affordable situation. Yeah, I have more data on that in the next coming months.
So that's your new niche. That's your new.
Well, I mean, I'm still playing in all these different spaces.
Sure.
Like, yes, will I do a home finance for someone who wants $1 million plus, who's on their 3rd or 5th home? Yeah, I'll do that. But when it comes to the entire reason why I'm in this business, 100%, it's to take care of people who don't have a home, and to be able to help them get into a home, and to help them use that home to hopefully refinance or do something to be able to pay off debts to where the only debt they have is paying off that home to get towards financial freedom. And rather than a kid going to an apartment and paying, close to $2,000 a month for an apartment, $20,000 over the course of a year.
Yeah.
If they can be able to get either a mobile home, single or double wide, and they're making payments, but the payments are half of what it would be if they were to buy a single family home, then that's one step, or a family with only one kid, sometimes two kids, that can be the situation for them. But if it's someone who's single, or maybe just them and, maybe a significant other, maybe the accessory dwelling unit could be something that is a great move for them.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. The home that we have right now, it has a attached in-law suite. We actually knocked down part of the wall so that we have a door access now, because as we're a multi-generational family, and at the time, my grandmother lived in that apartment, so it provided her the independence. She could do whatever she wanted, and she's not with us any longer. However, we were able to rent out that unit for a while. My sister even lived in it and was paying rent on it also. So I understand what you mean by that, the additional, which is kind of neat. I was like, that's not something a lot of people typically tend to talk about. In the multi-generational culture, we are very familiar with that type of dwelling situation. But to also consider that somebody you don't know lives in, attached to your home or a detached unit, that's I think that's nuance for a lot of people. It's an opinion for sure, but if you're living in that situation, you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, if your parents live in Tampa and you either have the funds to live in some different cities, some different places, etc., or if you're just adventurous and you just want to get out there, cool, understand. You go out there, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But if you're living in the same city, let's say your parents or whoever else has currently a home, if you live in that same city and you just are tired of being underneath your parents' roof, that gives you that sort of independence to be able to you can still go inside to maybe have some dinner or to be able to do this or do that, but having this own special place right outside the home to where you can still have your independence, I see that as a much more affordable, much more common sense option. But it does have to become more commonplace because you don't hear about it a ton right now.
Correct. And my only final comment on that, because I was just really intrigued that you were bringing that up, is that builders right now, they're not thinking about that kind of type of living accommodations or also land space to be able to really do that. A lot of the builders right now, because there was a big building boom that we saw for the last going into 3 years, even though it's been, and there's still going to be some data that's showing that it's leveling off a little bit. But when you go to these communities, like the Crystal Lagoon communities, for example, went out there a couple times already to look at some homes with a realtor just to check them out and see what, just check them out. There isn't a lot of, space to be able to do that. So that type of why I call it a niche is that because it's going to depend on rural land or already built homes that definitely have the acreage to be able to do that. Right now, even the home that we have, we lost a significant amount of backyard. There's no way we're ever going to build a pool there, but that was never the intention either. And there are a lot of homes in the area that we live, which is in central Tampa, that actually do that. They actually did decide to add a little, more space to the back with the expanded family rooms, even homes that got knocked down and then built up into 2 stories as well. So just thought that came to my mind.
It's gonna be fun to see.
It's gonna be fun to see
how this works out.
Yes.
All right. Appreciate y'all for sharing, by the way.
Yeah.
Next topic. News headlines for race. So we're getting into race conversations. You're talking to mortgage folks, which, by the way, we have Austin, mortgage, does some insurance as well. We got Tanya, she does mortgage. We have Gabriela, she's a marketer and in the mortgage space too. And myself, I do a few different things, mortgage. I do some appraising. I do some real estate, some into the construction world a little bit. So you're talking to people who have, a wide, vast array when it comes into this real estate game right now. But mainly, we're mainly come from a mortgage background. That's where we're all kind of connected to. So, of course, speaking of mortgage folks, they want to hear about rates. So mortgage rates, this is what's been in the news. And this is as of today. Mortgage rates rise on inflation concerns. Today's mortgage rates and trends, mixed rates. Mortgage rates tick up after weeks of decline. So people are saying mortgage rates are rising, and they're saying it's because of inflation. we're going to see if what they're saying is correct. So rates historically, this is what rates are looking like historically right now. I mentioned this on every podcast just to be able to put, everyone in the perspective of rates are not at some astronomical crazy level right now. The average is probably around 7%. We're sitting around 6% for most loans. And so it's not an astronomical number right now. We're actually a little bit below historical numbers. But rates as of the past 12 months, we were looking at, a steep incline from last year.
Yeah.
And then as of the last quarter, it started leveling off. And even it started slightly dipping down a little bit over the past quarter. Rates, how are you feeling about it right now? Go ahead, Tanya, since I know that's been on your mind.
Well, I was happy to see that there was an option for lower rates for my buyers who had lower loan amounts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've seen. I haven't been pricing much right now, but
it's good to see that there's different options for buyers that are not going to some higher price point.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good deal.
It would offer them something.
Yeah. Austin, what are you feeling about rates right now?
Yeah, man, I'm pro options.
Austin is slowly becoming a comedian. I love it.
Love the levity.
He's pro options, guys.
Yeah.
Gabriela, what's your vibe on rates? What are you hearing out there?
There's a lot of shopping going on, buyers. Just gonna mention that. Yeah, it's become a competitive market for lenders right now. And this is where you guys as the loan originators with the license are going to correct me. But somebody decides that they are going to get it pre-approved. It's a hard pull on their credit. There's going to be some discussion and changes on that as well coming up. However, so you have 30 days once that hard pull was done to, contact another lender and see what they have available. And so, yeah, that's what we're kind of hearing here in the office is that either we're the person that the next call is, or we're the first person that person has called to get pre-approved. And then things are moving along the transaction, just the initial stages of it. And then all of a sudden, hey, they're going with another lender.
Yeah.
And the part that I think, that you guys emphasize the most is that, the rates are the rates. Lender A and lender B, they're not going to have separate rates. They're going to have the same range of rates based on programs, based on credit, based on different parameters. It's the sell, it's the pitch that the buyers get to hear when they talk to the next lender or their current lender, whether they're going to commit to that one. And they still have until the end, right before they go to the signing table, if I'm correct, to change their mind.
Yeah. Rates are a car sales business game.
Yeah. Difficult.
If you're getting, first off, all the rates for different lenders are normally within about 0.125% of each other, which means that on any different loan amount, that could be the difference of whatever, $10 a month per monthly payment. Of course, that'll increase with the purchase price or with the loan amount, but it's not going to be some astronomical number. And we can be able to move those numbers up and down, monthly payments, mortgage insurance, getting those lower. There's many different ways to move that number around. But the most important thing to understand is that if you are getting a lower rate from someone, that means that you're probably getting something higher somewhere else, most likely in your final cash to close. So what will happen is the buyer will be with a lender. That lender's doing everything for them. They're telling them, what monthly payment prices are on certain homes. They're telling them about down payment assistance programs. They're telling them everything. And then as soon as they get under contract, they're like, oh, I guess I should shop around, to this bank or that bank. And then that bank goes, oh, I'll give you this thing lower. Same way you go for car salesman from this dealership to that dealership. And guess what? Bank A could have done this exact same situation for you. Right. What they'll do is they'll shoot an email and go, hey, I'm sorry, Bank A. I've spoken to Bank B. I'm going with them. Have a great life. Which, if they would just come back to us and say, hey, I saw this, because it's a service game. You're trying to close on the home.
Yeah.
This is not a, nitpicky. This is not a situation.
It's a decision.
It's a big decision, and you want somebody to help get you to the finish line and get you to the finish line in a smooth manner. So if you're dealing with a local lender like us, who all we do is lending, we are like a bank, but, the only thing we do is service buyers when it comes to mortgage. You decide to go with one of your big time banks, your Banks of America, Wells Fargo, etc. Yeah, they'll help you out when it comes to closing on a home, but that's not their main priority. They have 20 other channels of ways of making money. Your mortgage person could be working in 2 or 3 other different sectors as well. And then you have banks like Wells Fargo, who we've seen recently. They decided to start tailoring back their mortgage business, which happens all the time. As soon as things get slower, which last year was a slower year, a majority of banks stop doing mortgage as much, stop lending as much. You have the players like us who, making livelihoods off of it. They need to get you to the finish line. They don't just want you to, they need you to get to the finish line. So we're going to do everything in our power. We're not going to be the ones to say, hey, your loan's not going to close. We're going to be the ones to say, hey, we got to do X, Y, or Z to get you to close. Like, what option you want to go with? We're going to run this down the finish line to get you to the closing table. If you go with one of these other banks, as soon as things start getting tough, it's pretty much, hey, we can't close for you. Go find someone else. And then we have to come in with 13 days to close to get you to close again, which we'll do. To try and save the deal. Probably 25% of our deals closing every month.
We're saving deals.
It's some sort of deal saving, closes in 13 days, et cetera, which we love doing. We love still trying to get you to a home, but it's a lot smoother if you just stay with us from the beginning.
Yeah, it's a good challenge. And that's really why I'm bringing it up, because that is kind of what I'm hearing in the office the most is, hey, they're moving along with another lender, and knowing now, like I said, before, real estate, before I started working in the real estate office and before I started working in the mortgage offices, I didn't know any of this stuff. So that's the reason why this type of information is just really genuinely important to educate consumers, to educate the buyers, because it's not just about, hey, I found my home and I'm buying it. It's like your goal is to help people become debt free. To become debt free, the beginning decisions that you make is what helps set that up. Doesn't mean that it's going to derail you if you make a different decision, because you can refinance your rate. Yeah. And not all lenders are equal. We're not going to get into the education process of we're direct lenders. That means that we can back our loans. There's mortgage brokers. They shop around for different ones. We also have portfolio loans, which means that we have investors who are interested in different loan products, like self-employed and everything. So that's why what you're saying is correct. We will do everything in our power to make that close happen for a client. So when a client does decide to change, we get a little passionate about it, because we also know what that person is going to go up against next.
Yep. You got it, Gabriela.
You got it.
Yeah. My next question.
Yeah, please someone else talk.
We got to get through this, guys, because Austin has a date with some cinnamon rolls or some cinnamon buns or something sweet.
He's our sweet tooth guy. What can we say?
Austin and I are good buds, but he is 95% sweet. I'm 95% salt. It's like the Powder Puff Boys, Rowdy Road, something. All right. I wanted to mention this real quick, and I hate going technical, but I got to do this because people just don't really know what's happening right now. I'm not some smart guy. I'm not some genius guy, but I do follow smart guys, and I do follow the smartest guy in the business. There's 100 people you can listen to when it comes down to what's going to happen in mortgage, what's going to happen with interest rates. And the most important person to listen to is Barry Habib, in my opinion. And he produces this. He speaks to many different people, but he likes to speak on this subject right now over the past 6 to 12 months, which is when will inflation peak? How's it going? Because as you can see so far, the Fed has increased their rates over the past few months, but mortgage rates have come down over the past few months. So obviously that does not have a direct effect on mortgage rates. In our reality, it has a direct effect on short-term lending, construction loans, many credit cards, things of that nature, installment loans. But for a 30-year mortgage, a Fed, it doesn't directly affect this. But inflation is what directly affects mortgage right now. So trying to see where inflation is going to go is going to be the main thing to determine where mortgage rates are going to go. If inflation goes higher, mortgage rates are going to go higher. If inflation goes lower, mortgage rates will go lower, unless something crazy, catastrophic happens in the world. That's a big, giant world news, and that could potentially, sway things. But over the past 6 to 12 months, it has been 95% inflation driving this. So what's showing on here right now is inflation every single month. And if you tally those up over the past 12 months, that's going to be our inflation number that we're going to have as a reading. And so the main thing to note is that if you look at the year before, if that number is a high number, for example, we're in January of 2023. If you look at January of last year, if that number is 0.5% or higher, then that means that that number is going to fall off, and most likely inflation is going to come down that month for us.
Okay.
So as you can see, the past few months have been pretty low. They're under 0.5%. They're at 0.3, 0.2, 0.3, which is why inflation has gone down, which is why mortgage rates over the past few months have gone down as well. And as you can see up here, the numbers that are going to be falling off from last year, January 0.6%, that's a good look for us. February 0.5%, that's a decent look for us. March, there's probably not going to be that much of a movement in March, in my opinion, or it could potentially go the other way. So be prepared for news headlines that go, mortgage rates are increasing, it's going to be the worst type of situation.
Chicken Little.
But if you look at heading into the actual summertime, 0.6%, 0.6%, 0.7%, this could be potentially a decent buying season when it comes to buyers' mentality, getting out there, being excited for lower interest rates, refinancing homes that they currently have to be able to pay off thousands of dollars worth of debt. This could be a good season right now. What are your opinions on this? We'll start with Austin. Sweet guy. Mr. Cinnabon.
Yeah, I mean, excited about this March. You know, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I apologize. I had to throw this in there. I know it's numbers type stuff. I'll have some graphs that are this, but I just got to throw it out there just to be able to debunk some people. Once again, I'm not no expert in this. I have no PhD in economics or mortgage data, but you know, this is what the top people say.
Yeah, just go ahead and get people pre-qualified early. So, you know,
Yeah.
they're ready to go by March.
Yeah, exactly. Tanya, what's your feeling?
We'll go to that feeling.
You got it. It could be a no comment. It could be a no comment. I apologize.
No comment.
The really good thing about graphs, because as you said, I am not an economist. I don't hold a PhD in any of this stuff. I'm going to just always be very honest about that because it's very true. We're not. So what we do rely on is experts in the field. And besides just the way that they talk and explain things, some of us are just visual individuals. I'm just going to say that. And I like a graph. A graph I can see, I can follow, I can notice trends, patterns, and that's exactly what this chart does. So everything you just said, as I was looking at the chart and following along, I said, yep, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't need to know the ins and outs of all the details for it, but I am following along to say that we should be optimistic about March, even though 3 years ago that wasn't the case, because I remember the history lessons that I like to bring to our table talks here is that, 3 years ago, that wasn't the case. Pandemic struck and it just turned everything on its head. So then we go into a market where, Florida was just getting bought up left and right from everybody from out of the state. And last year, it was still showing a very strong market for sellers as well. And now, as we're starting, what I brought up a little bit earlier today is about like how buyers are taking more time to choose. They are shopping lenders to try to find the best rates, because the consumers have been getting squeezed, especially last year. They were just getting squeezed, and inflation was just like the big hot buzzword, and not in the good way either. Just people were like worried about how they were going to be able to afford. It sounds cliche to say it, but eggs, but those are staple items that individuals have. And when people hear inflation and they think that they can't buy, their staple items for their home, their family, and be able to afford bills, the buyer is going to be a lot more choosy at this point. So, but that's what hearing about inflation does. You don't have to know the ins and outs about it to know that it's already affecting your wallet. So if you look at where trends are headed, it does give people a little more peace of mind for a moment that, hey, this is where the economy is going. This is how it's going to affect the mortgage industry. And is this now the time for me to jump in and buy a home. I was holding off last year because it just didn't feel like it was right. Um, we, and I think maybe we typically tend to say there's always a good time to buy. There's generally not a time where we're going to discourage people, don't buy right now, because everybody has life situations that happen that force them to buy or sell. Even during the months where we don't see a lot of activity in the mortgage industry and the real estate industry, people are still buying and selling homes. We have market data that shows that people are still putting their homes up for sale. People are still buying homes because life still happens. And so inflation is just another part of living in a country with the economy that be prepared and strive for having a debt-free life and use real estate or use different types of tools, whatever you have at your disposal to be able to do that.
Sure.
So that graph just tells me, it's like, oh, it looked like a roller coaster when I first saw it. I was like, oh, it looks like Wasi from from Busch Gardens. However, but it kind of just
the beginning part, yeah, definitely. That big giant dip.
That would be
not for me.
Sheikra. Sorry, this is not endorsed by Busch Gardens whatsoever. I got to throw that little disclaimer in there. However, that does remind me of Sheikra when all of a sudden everything just plummeted down.
Live your best life. Asa can't do that. He probably just had a Cinnabon beforehand. So
never with anything in your stomach, please. But we're just visual individuals. That everything you were saying and I'm following along it helps make sense so that let's be optimistic about March.
Yeah. One correction real quick. March is the month that we're not optimistic about. March is
That's what I was thinking.
You're good. Yeah, March is the opposite. March of last year had a low number, which means that when that falls off, it's not going to be.
That now.
No, you're good. I'll let you get your thing. You were saying almost everything correct.
Except for that.
And you never know. I'm not an economist. I could be incorrect. You never know.
Yeah, but
March is you could be right. You could be right. But yeah, March is the month that the news is probably going to trying to hit us down. Don't be surprised by that. Yeah. We're hoping to have a decent January, February reading when it comes to inflation, which means that numbers go down for mortgage rates. March will be iffy. Mortgage rates may go up again, but then April, May, June, mortgage rates could be going down again. And I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, I would be retired. Probably not. I don't like retirement.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said you work.
I like work.
I don't know. I might be getting into doing some more, videos on social media.
You'll be surprised. I'm pumping them out right now. I got the shorts going.
I see them.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't wear shorts in real life, but I do have shorts on YouTube. Credit in the news.
Great job.
Consumer credit growth slows, suggesting consumption will ... So user consumer credit growth grows at slowest pace in 2 years. Consumer credit increases in December. Don't you love how the news always has conflicting things? It's never a consistent situation. But they're saying that consumer credit growth, they're trying to say that the growth that consumer credit is growing, because they're saying it's still growing, but they're saying that hopefully it's slowing, which hopefully it would slow because we're out of December now. And in December, that's normally when credit increases the most for the holidays. Right. This is what we're looking at over the past few years with household debt. Unfortunately, we don't have Q4 data, but we do have up to Q3. And as you can see, stimulus check went down, went back up again. Stimulus check went down, and it's been rising steadily since then. Consumers are still in a slightly better position for what I'm saying for this graph than where they were pre-pandemic, where they're closer to 10% of their household debt being close to 10% of their income being in debt. So whatever their income is, close to 10% of that being credit cards, car payments, things of that nature. And during the pandemic and whatnot, it shot down close to 8 to 9%, but now it's inching its way back up again. 10% is a lot, by the way. That means that if you make $5,000 a month, that means that you're paying, $500 a month in these certain fees and whatnot, which that number is a lot higher from what I've seen. I've seen people that are at $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, just in credit cards and car payments, not even student loans. Or I know people aren't paying for student loans right now, but if they ever reenact that, that's going to be a world of hurt for a lot of people. So credit, what's your feels on what's happening right now with credit? Austin, go ahead. He's got to wake up.
Yeah, it sucks that it's going up. Is it expected to? Does it usually drop March or after the holidays, or
I would say it starts dropping right after tax returns.
yeah.
Yeah. People do pay a lot towards, but as you can see, people aren't doing. If you, as you can see from here, people aren't doing enough of a hit. Even if they do pay certain things off after tax returns, it's not enough of a hit to where you're seeing this drastic decline.
Yeah.
Like they may do a decent amount, it may dip a little bit, but they're not paying off the big stuff. You know, people are, if they have $1,000 worth of debt, people may be paying off that $100 a month credit card, but they still have $600 a month worth of car payments, or $500 towards this big credit card situation. So I do see that too, especially in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
Everyone around this time, as soon as they start talking about tax returns, like, oh, I want to use this money towards paying off X, Y, and Z. But unless we're there to be like, hey, don't pay it on that, pay it onto this account. You're trying to pay off this card that's only $50 a month. Pay off this card that's $200 a month. That's going to affect your household the most. That's going to give you more buying power when it comes to buying a home. Unless they have that advisor like us, it doesn't work out as well for them. Good. Gabriela, what's your vibe? Credit.
We need it, but we also hate it at the same time. Credit always jumps during the holidays. People buy a lot of stuff on credit. That's just one of those consumer mental habits that people do. I mean, with the exception, maybe there's always going to be that one exception year. And I always remember that particular year because I really didn't spend a lot during the holidays for that. The first year where we were into the pandemic, because we were just saving money at that time.
Yep.
And we've gone through podcasts where we've actually seen data to support that as well. And since, there is changes coming up where the pandemic is going to be officially by the government standards considered to be done. The only opinion with that is because there's already vaccines, there's medications, there's things already in place to help mitigate those, where we didn't have that, before. All right. So whether people choose to do that or not, that is their own choice and their own prerogative. So you take that part out. I understand why that is happening. Then you start looking at consumers now feeling more confident about, well, I'm going out to restaurants, I'm going out to go buy things. And then we have to consider the labor force, the workforce. The jobs number report that came out very optimistic. How many more jobs were added? I'm sorry, I forgot the number, but it definitely was higher than it was anticipated. So, but yet when you or I go out into restaurants or any place where they're constantly looking for workers, they're like, we're hiring, because there's still going to be a wage issue. I know this isn't really the platform really to discuss that, but that really is a factor as to why people get credit cards and why they get into debt, is because their wage or their cost of their expenses, whether they're budgeting or they know how to spend or not, that's not for us to judge or criticize. Everybody has their own decisions when it comes to that. But if you're living outside of your means, you're going to get lines of credit. So that really is what I'm seeing now, is that people are now trying to live outside of their means, and credit is short-term credit lines, credit cards, which really aren't short-term. Those are going to be one of the things that they can do to help that. Tax season, that's why they're going to use their tax return to pay their credit cards, because they know that that's something that's going to be ongoing. Interest rates on credit cards are going to be higher than typically what a mortgage might be.
Yeah. I'll say this: pay these cars off. Pay these cars off. Do whatever you got to do to aggressively pay the cars off. That is the biggest monthly payment that I'm seeing for a majority of people right now are car payments. I mean, the price of cars have doubled over the last few years. Even your own basic cars, whatever, going for 30 to 40K. And if you have a family wanting to start getting SUVs, you're going easily 40 to 60K. And don't even ask about trucks. Trucks are in their own stratosphere of payments. So if you can, pay your cars off. If you're trying to buy a home, don't pay anything off before you speak to a mortgage lender. because we'll let you know what needs to be paid off or does not need to be paid off to get into a home. All right, let's get into some fun stuff. You're talking
Fun?
Yeah, real estate.
Fun before.
We were having fun before.
Okay.
You know, Austin and Squeaks are very fun. We're going to get into some real estate news, which, you know, this is going to let you know, all right, should I be buying right now or should I not be buying right now? Which, just a forewarning, get pre-approved at any point in time and look for homes. And then that'll let you know if you should be buying or not. But this is just giving an overall situation of what's happening right now in the market. So real estate news, this is what the news is talking about. Why today's housing market isn't headed for a crash. I like what they're saying. Here's what's happening with home prices as mortgage rates fall. Not too bad either. And our tiny home solution to the housing crisis, these builders think so. Hey, great job, News. Thank you for Home Depot.
The Home Depot homes. Yes, the Home Depot homes. Don't get me excited.
Talking about ADUs.
I was just watching. I just read the article yesterday, and it wasn't a new article.
I'm about to get some stock in Home Depot.
Gosh, it's okay. So listen, look for the Home Depot small homes. Google it, look for it, and find the article on it. But it's essentially like a 1-bedroom home, and it's a
Well, those tiny sheds have been extremely popular at Home Depot for the past few years. Whereas like it's supposed to be used as a shed, but when you see 500 square feet of open in front of you, like, yo, I can live in this thing. So people are buying them, living in them, customizing them for only a few $1,000s. And so getting to the tiny home space where you're actually making it a home, it makes Home Depot has been doing things for a good amount of years. Like when it comes, before the pandemic, I always took my daughter. It was once a month. They had these little workshops where you go there and you build some little things, some rocket ship, whatever else. So that's gonna be some fun stuff. We're gonna see how that goes. Thank you for your Home Depot excitement, Gabriela.
Oh my goodness! Sorry, again, not that I'm
I'm telling you.
It was just really neat that I was like, oh my God, I just saw this yesterday again. And it's literally the cutest little house. Yeah. It's good for like a one person, maybe two people who are just trying to live that minimal lifestyle and stuff. So it's a mindset to live.
Within the next 12 months, I'm trying to put up an ADU somewhere. I don't care where it's at, some tiny home somewhere. So I'm with you on that.
There are tiny home communities. There is one in Tampa that was built for displaced individuals. They did do that.
There are
one little bedroom, like a one room type of situation.
Yeah, I will say this. I'm playing around the appraisal space a lot, doing a lot of appraisal training. I probably spend the majority of my week every week doing that right now. People being obsessed, single family home buyers being obsessed with their property values increasing has been one of the biggest detractors towards affordable housing of all time. Austin recommended me a book. I forgot what it was about, but the dude kept saying the jury segregation in the book all the time. He probably mentioned 1,000. The Color of Law. Yeah. Yes. I don't read too many color of whatever books, but this book, The Color of Law, was a very good one, which talks. Shout out whatever his name is. His voice is definitely clear eyes, puts you to sleep. But when it comes down to it, people being obsessed, I'll get even more into it. You know, manufactured homes being next to single family homes. Single family home people will get outrageously upset when they see something like that happening, because the first thing that comes to their mind is, hey, my property value is going to go down. I don't want this to happen. I will burn something down in order to be able to not have something, in order to not have my property value go down. And when you look at the amount of wealth tied up in properties for people, that, you know, if someone owns a home, probably 75 to 80% of their wealth is going to be tied up in their actual home. So they are very aggressive towards not having their home values go down when they don't understand, like, these tiny homes can be built to code, you know, which means that they have resale value. They can last a decent amount of time. If it was a manufactured home that was built in 1960, that home was probably only worth about 20 years before it was not worth too much, 20, 30 years. Yeah. These new manufactured homes, tiny homes, etc., when done correctly, are getting built to last 30, 50. And I even know one manufacturer, they're trying to make them last 100 years right now. And some of them were down there during Hurricane Irma, down in South. And those homes are still up, doing well, communities for them. So that's going to be exciting to see how that plays out. Sorry for the monologue.
No, I love it. Thank
All right.
you.
So the funnest part is always this, going over some of this real estate data. I call this the myth busters.
Tanya's favorite part.
Yeah, definitely. Tanya came with
Yes.
some heat last month, and
Take it away.
it's gonna be tough to be able to see on here because we only have 1 month and it's just a dot. But active listing count, as you can see, well, you can't really see, but we got 3 people with glasses on here.
Slideshow view for a second.
Yeah, I apologize. I'll do that. Slideshow. I pressed from the current slide, but the slide didn't want to cooperate. Here we go.
Oh, a little bit bigger.
So the pink dot right here shows active listing count, which, as you can see, green and gold below it were the last 2 pandemic years. Those, scratch those out. Those aren't real years. All the years above are the years before the pandemic. We still have no homes on the market. And if you take any basic economics, there's no supply. And that means that it's going to still be in a decent market because even if you have lower buyers, then that means that, people are going to, the home prices are going to still stay where they're at, increase, etc., because there's not any homes for people to buy. And so that's going to be something interesting to see. Builders are not being aggressive anymore. Part of the 2008 crash was that builders were very, very aggressive with throwing out homes on the market. And ever since then, that's part of the housing crisis shortage right now is that, and it's not a bad thing, but builders are just being very, very conservative when it comes to buyer demand. So active listing count, that's very low right now. And if you look at the one on the right, this is probably the most important thing for what market we're in. This is the number of days that homes is on the market once they're put on the market. So if someone decides to sell their home, they put it on the market, that home is sold in 60 days. Anything less than 5 months is considered a seller's market. Homes are going fast. Sellers have more control. They can put, more, they have more of an opinion on, hey, I want to put it at this price, and then buyers will still buy it. Anything on the market more than 5 months, and that means that we're in a buyer's market, buyers have more control. They can be able to say, no, I want to come in there as a savvy buyer for $20K less, $30K less, give me $15K in seller credit, etc. As of right now, we're at the pink dot. We're probably at about a month and a half, or I'm sorry, two and a half months when it comes to days on the market. That's still an aggressive seller's market. So active listing count, days on the market. Tanya, what are you seeing on this?
I can't see.
I apologize, Tanya.
Is this for nationwide, state of Florida? Where is this just
This is nationwide, by
nationwide?
the way.
Okay.
Nationwide.
Sorry, it just gives me some context a little bit.
No problem. So active listing count, just understand we're probably half of where it was at before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Days on the market, we're still lower than where it was before the pandemic as well. So, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it is a healthy real estate market. Sellers still have some control. They have less control than they had a year ago, but it's still a healthy real estate market. Any opinions on this?
No, I would agree.
Cool. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Austin, any opinions on this right now? Or questions? You are a question guy. You like to ask questions and figure things out.
Throw in a question.
Maybe on the next one. I don't know. I agree. Everything seems a little tiny on this.
Wow, you guys making it easy for me. Gabriela.
If you can just tell me the number of days that are currently on the market for the slide. That was
75.
75.
75 days on the market,
Okay.
which is 2.5
current.
months.
That's current.
That is January 2023.
Okay. Then that is definitely in line with what I was saying about when I have gone to some open houses with the realtor. That is kind of what we're seeing, and they're just on the market a little bit longer, and that goes with also that the sellers are still thinking like they were thinking last year, which is where they're like, hey, no, well, my XYZ neighbor down the street sold their home for, and my home is definitely much bigger and nicer, and I did more than they did, very, very comparative analysis, as to why they feel like they have a CMA perspective on the pricing of their home. And then of course, the real estate professional also has to bring in their experience, their years, and also tell, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, I really, based on the data that I'm seeing. But remember, the realtor is not going to lose a sale or the opportunity for a transaction. but they are going to have to give that negotiation speech. Like, listen, we'll go with your higher price, but if it doesn't sell within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and in this case, you said 73 days, so that's over 3 months, those homes are just not priced where the market needs them to be. Okay, the market, not necessarily where the seller wants it to be, and not necessarily where the buyer wants it to be, but the market indicates that that price is just not realistic right now. Either take the home off the market and reevaluate, or do a price reduction, and then you can go back into the market and really have a better strategy at that point. So 73 days on the market. Like I said, we're until we see the 6-month mark, 180 days, then sellers still have options. They still have a lot of things that I think sellers should also consider is the seller credits, so that the buyers, they can still sell their home at the price that they want, but buffer that, that reduction with a seller credit. And both you and the buyer, it's a
win-win.
Definitely. Thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. Because isn't that what a negotiation is supposed to be? Two people come together and they both want something and they need to find something that they both can agree on, and it's a win-win situation. That is the beauty of a wonderful real estate transaction.
Yeah. I'll mention this. You have two different types of real estate agents. You have an active real estate agent that they are spending a good majority of their week, 20, 30, 40 hours doing real estate activities. And then you have your onesie-twosie agents that only do 1 to 2 deals in the course of a year because they're going to net a decent amount from doing those deals. Those onesie-twosie agents, as soon as they speak to their friend or whoever else, because they're probably not marketing for it, but there's a ton of those people out there. Their friend says, hey, I want to put the market for this amount. And the onesie-twosie agent says, okay, sure, whatever. And then home goes on there. They're not really following up. They're not really priced. It's just a home sitting on the market. Those are the homes you can find out that are lasting longer. Things aren't happening. It's not moving as much. Yeah. And then you have the active agents, which when it comes down to it, those homes can still potentially sit on the market if they're in certain areas or if it's not priced correctly. But those homes will be much more likely to sell with having that active agent and sell for more than what they would have gotten if they would have done with the onesie-twosie agent, and especially if they were to do it on their own. People that do it on their own, absolutely not. You can barely sell a car that's only worth 20, 30, 40K by yourself. So trying to sell a home, 20, 200K, 300K, 400K, and get into a real estate transaction, the most perfect buyer, the most perfect home, etc., still has issues all the time in this business when it comes to trying to get someone through financing, getting a home through inspections, etc. So making sure that you work with the correct agent or correct lender. I heard a stat that, and this may or may not be true, but close to 40% of mortgage lenders did not renew their license for 2023.
That's accurate. And that was something that was also brought up third quarter in one of our regional meetings that we were having, is that especially as things were starting to look like, hey, we're getting into a very, it's going to be a difficult market for lenders, loan originators, loan officers, whatever you want to call it, that it's the same concept as realtors who got into the market when it was hot. Because you're bound to make a couple deals, man. You're absolutely going to. And same thing was happening with, newer loan originators as well, is that they realized that after the market isn't as hot as it was for them, or as the loans were coming in and it was just easier, that is when your metal is actually tested at that point. And so, you have to reevaluate, is this the career for me? And also, you have loan people in the industry who have been in this game for quite a long time, and they're like, I'm just tired and I'm ready to bow out with
they had their best years, 2019, 2020, 2021. They had their best years ever.
Yeah.
So for them, what's up?
Said, hey, frame the jersey.
They framed their jersey, they put it up, they got the Super Bowl, they got the ring.
The real retirement, not the second retirement. I know I said that, guys.
Yeah.
And it's fair because it really is, what you guys are doing, what I do, I can certainly, go into another market and learn and move there. What you guys do and helping people buy their homes and advising them financially with credit and everything, that is a craft that you have to work on, build relationships on. It's the same with realtors. That's why we're looking at this data here from realtor.com, is that everything is about building a relationship when it comes to these transactions. So yeah, 40% of lenders leaving the industry, and I don't even know the number actually for realtors, is high, but
yeah. So I would say is a bad time for mortgage companies. It's a good time for mortgage originators. Once again, if rates start decreasing over the next couple of months, that's going to be a good time for us when it comes down to it. Buyer demand is not slowing. Buyer demand is increasing right now. Heading into the spring, we've been seeing more pre-approvals than we've been seeing over the last few months, which always happens during this time. But, if it wasn't happening, that would be a very bad sign. So for the mortgage originators that are still in the business, still active, still doing their thing, I think it's still going to be decent for them. But for mortgage companies, if you lost, 50%, because 40% is an average. So some companies lost 75% and some companies only lost 25%.
Yeah.
If you only lost 25% as a mortgage company, you're still going to be winning. If you lost 75% as a mortgage company, now you need to sell your company, consolidate with some other companies, which that is happening a lot as well too. Good. Median list price. Tanya's not going to be able to see this again, but I'll try my best to be able to assist her with where it's at.
Even with my glasses, I can't. It's blurry.
Yeah. Hopefully next month when we see this, that'll be able to.
Hopefully you give us the slides so we know what we're talking about and we can prepare. You like this natural, put us on a spot
organic conversations. Hey, listen.
So thank you, Tanya, for telling me how you feel. I appreciate that. Your feelings are appreciated and considered in this realm. So I'll think about it. We'll see how it goes next month.
Thank you.
It'll probably be the same. So pink dot, once again, the gold dot below it, median list price, is last year. It did what it always does. It goes up and it slightly goes down at the end of the year. It went down more last year, so that was a little bit concerning. Not a ton concerning, but a little bit concerning. I would say a little bit because it started going down more than it normally goes down towards the end of the year. I would say not as much because we were still so far above the year prior. We ended last year probably around 400K for the median list price. And that was still probably 30K more than the previous year.
Everything we were saying earlier last year is the truth.
Yeah.
We were saying this, that price, the home values were going to go up, listing prices were going to go up. It was true the year before that. And then we, as you said, we do keep up with experts in this industry. So there's a chain of events and effects that happen after. So if median listing price is starting to go down a little bit, then also other numbers are going to start either going down or going up. So
sure.
Yeah.
So if 400K was December of last year, if January was at 380K, 370K, that would have been, in my opinion, a cause for concern because that number would still be going down when it's supposed to start increasing again. As you can see right now, it was flat from December to January, which, once again, I don't got a PhD in this, but I'm hoping and expecting that number is going to start slightly increasing over the next 3 to 6 months. But seeing it not go down again, see it kind of level off, to me, that was a decent thing. Price reduced share, this just shows homes having reductions. As of right now, the dot is at about 15% of homes having reductions. This number is slightly higher than it was for the years before, but nothing that astronomical to where it's off the charts right now. So homes are having reductions, like Gabriela said. Some of these sellers are having to learn that we are not in the same market we were in the last couple of months. It's going to be interesting to see where that number goes, but it is lower than it was the middle of last year. Median list price reductions. Any comment on the graph that you cannot see, Tanya?
No. I agree with you. You hit it on the spot.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. We got to get you some more sauce. You had a lot of sauce last month. Austin, any questions? Anything you have?
So with the median listing price, it's trending downwards towards the end of the year.
It normally levels off, and then December kind of like dips off a little bit.
That's just because people aren't that interested in it.
Hey, once they get back in school, these parents and whatnot with the kids and whatnot,
the kids.
who's trying to list a home in September when their kids got sports, they're in work as well?
They got time.
They don't want to deal with that. They do not want to deal with that. Every time someone's got to come over, you got to clean up again and put things together.
Holidays are like right back to back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
As
which
soon
is normal. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all very normal in the real estate market. It's just normal for.
That's why you're Austin. That's why I like you, man.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. What other question you got, Austin? What else? Throw them out there.
That is a good question that somebody watching this might actually have, and then like, oh, thank goodness somebody asked that question, because we may not cover a lot of but it's good to ask questions so that the person that is watching this can get some perspective as well. So
They're asking the same question that Austin asked. What else you got, Mr. Black Shirt?
That's it for now.
Cool. You got it. Anything else for you on this one, Gabriela?
Yeah, this is national data. So when we get into more of the Florida market, if we're going to cover that in the presentation, then so there is some consistency with what I was saying a little bit earlier about the price reduction, and also as far as the I didn't really mention a lot about the median listing pricing, except for that the sellers are starting to come to that moment where it's like, okay, I'm not going to get that higher price. However, when we look at national data, we in this, we're in Florida. So if you're watching this in New York, if you're watching this in Illinois, if you're watching this in California, wherever you're watching this, your market data is going to be more specialized and localized to your market. This is just going to be what the average is for the country. So that took me a while to put that in perspective. The first few podcasts that we were doing this, and now it's like I just kind of look at this a little bit more panned out.
Yep, you're waiting for the next slides because you know what's coming, Gabriela.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
All right. So my conclusion of what we just saw, business as usual. We'll see how it goes the next couple of months. As long as interest rates come down a little, it ain't going to come down a lot. If interest rates go down 0.5%, so it goes from roughly 6.25, 6.5, it goes down into the fives, it's going to be a great buying season.
Yeah.
Regional statistics, I'll run through this real quick and then we'll get to the next slide, which is Florida data. So what Gabriela said, is going to vary your real estate experience by what region you're in. Midwest, Chicago, Illinois, I just said that, whatever. Northeast, New York, New Jersey, all those states. The South, we got Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, et cetera. And in the West, which kind of drives a lot what's going on in these national data because they just have a lot of ups and downs. As soon as things are going good, they have all the craziest amount of sales. And as soon as things start leveling out or not going as good, it starts going down as well. So as you can see, active listing count versus last year, Midwest, 36% more than last year, 23%, which we need more listings, by the way. Even with these numbers saying 36% more, 23% more, that's still nowhere near the amount of listings that these areas need to even have a stable market. So sellers still have a ton of control. The South, 125% more listings. In the West, 114% more listings. So as you can see, if you're in the Midwest or Northeast, you're like, yeah, there's more listings, but it's still not a ton. If you're in the South or the West, you're like, yeah, there's more listings on the market. And I'm going to skip all that other data. I'm going to the median days on market, because that shows you what type of market it is. Mm-hmm. The Midwest, 7 more days. So, it's still a crazy seller's market. Northeast, 6 more days, still a crazy seller's market. The South and the West, the West has gone up an entire month in days on the market versus last year.
It is.
So, if you start hearing things about, nationally, we're moving more into a buyer's market, more homes are sitting on the market longer, it could be a lot more skewed because that West data is so much higher than most of the other places. And even in the South, it's going up more than last year, but it's still not at a point to where, it's a true buyer's market. It's still very heavy seller's market. To where as a buyer, you're able to do some things in the market, You're able to have some deals. You're able to get some seller credit, but buyers don't own the market yet. This is the data. This is a little bit bigger for Tanya. Maybe I see her leaning in.
So I was trying to squint the last one. And I was like,
Yeah. We'll try to knock this out quickly.
Yeah.
The top numbers is from last month. The bottom numbers is from this month. Median list price in Miami stayed about the same, $595.90. Jacksonville went from 386 to 380, so it came down a little bit.
Okay.
Orlando Kissimmee, 429 to 427, went down a little bit. St. Pete from 405 to 400K. So on average, probably about $5,000 is what the number went down in Florida for the median list price. Nothing to even think about or even have cares about, in my opinion. And then we're going to go to days on market, in my opinion, which is the next most important one, which, as you can see, year over year, it has increased a little bit more. Last month, it was around 5 to 10 for majority of the counties. And as of this month, or January, versus the previous year, the days on the market has increased versus the year before. It's about homes are sitting on the market about 30 days more than they were January of 2022. But if you also remember, January 2022 was crazy hot.
Mm-hmm.
That was before interest rates jumped up.
Yeah.
Like January 2022, all those
in the threes.
It was still in the threes, and even some buyers were getting some in the twos still.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a crazy hot market in January. And right now we're just, in my opinion, getting more towards a normal market. A lot of data on there, but overall, what are you getting from that team?
But yeah, the homes are sitting out in the market. Interest rates hopefully are going to help with that once they start going down.
Yeah, that's the hope. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
You said something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you said something earlier about a stable market. We need more listings for it to be a little bit more stable. You just mean like in general that there's not a clear advantage for the seller or the buyer? What did you mean when you said like that?
There's more of an advantage for the seller. The sellers can still go out there and for an okay amount be like, I want this price, and they're going to still get some bites at that price.
So that's what you mean when you're talking about a stable market?
Yeah. We stable market. This is everyone's opinions. Someone's opinion could be 3 or 4 months of homes being on the market till they're being sold is stable. Some could be like 5 to 6. The general consensus, though, is 5 months is a balance. Okay. Sellers don't have more control. Buyers don't have more control. Yeah. If homes are on the market for less than that, like if it takes your home less than 5 months to be sold, it's considered sellers having more control. If it takes more than 5 months, like it did during 2008, 2009, that means that if you're a buyer, you can come in there and control, I want to come in there 20,000 less and get seller credit. You can pull moves like that. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Good. What else you got on here, Austin?
That's it. I was on that other side and I was just thinking about that one.
We should get your notepad because Austin's got that one question. He's like, yo, if I don't get that question answered, I can't move on to the next. We got to get the Austin question answered first. Maybe I should get halfway through each slide. Austin, you got a question? He asks his question, and then I finish it out. That way we make sure that, Austin can get the full run of everything. Gabriela, any opinions on this?
If I haven't already said it before, I think this is just the data that kind of supports a lot of the stuff that I mentioned earlier. It's their median listing pricing is. We're just gonna look at Tampa and St. Pete. That prices are going down just a little bit. They're just being repriced. Is from what it looks like, and the median days on the market, compared to last year, it says 26 days, more. That is actually what I saw too. So, and that's actually the great thing about us being able to.
Quick note: when you see 26 days, we're comparing that to 30 days. So from 30 days on the market to now 60 days on the market.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
It's still, it's longer. It's definitely longer a little on the market than what it was before. Yeah, it's just kind of just showing where we're headed right now, and there may be some leveling off on that when pricing of homes gets to be more I don't want to say reasonable. I think it's just a harsh word to say, but when it just becomes more like in line with what the market is basically saying, this is where homes should be priced, because people may want to price their home at a certain price, and the realtors may say, hey, my experience and what I'm seeing says this. The market's the market, and that's what's going to drive it, because these are numbers, these are facts, these are what you're currently seeing. We don't really get into the other factors that really affect this, because that's not what we're doing here. We touch a little bit on inflation, and that is one of those things as well. But jobs market, there's a lot of factors that go into that number right there. So I'm looking a little bit broader, and then I'm just also seeing that it's just in line with what we're seeing.
Yeah. Another perspective as well. When we got to 90 days, 3 months on the market a couple years ago, agents and people in the market were saying, "Oh my gosh, this is a seller's market. Like, this is, homes are moving fast right now." Oh, yeah. And I was at 90 days on the market. Then when it got to 60 days on the market, everyone was like, "This is absolutely insane. I've never seen a market like this. Homes are going so fast. This is crazy."
Hours on the market.
Yeah.
Offers.
And by the time we got to 30 days, nobody could even comprehend what that was like. Yeah. So now that we're back to 60 days, if it was going the other way, if it went from 90 days to 60 days, people will be still making that, "Oh my gosh, homes are still moving so quick, moving so crazy, etc." But since it's going from 30 to 60 days, you may hear some people saying, "Oh, the market is not doing too well, etc." So just be cautious who you're listening to, in my opinion, especially in the news. Speak with someone who is an active real estate agent, so someone who is spending a decent amount of time every week in this, or someone like us who we're on a team, we're all together, we're constantly going over these numbers to try and get better at mortgage originating. All right. SummerRealtor.com data, in my opinion, business as usual. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to run through this real quick just because I love manufactured homes. I may get some accessory dwelling unit data at some point in time. We'll see how that goes.
Yes, please.
But we just saw the average median home price across America, $400K. Manufactured homes, I got to keep throwing this out there, because you can get these homes. They look just like brand new homes. They have the exact same foundation as brand new homes, but you are getting them for less than half the price of a pre-existing home. Not less than half the price of a new home. You're getting new manufactured homes for less than half the price of a home that is 15, 20, 30 years old. So as you can see on here, if it's a single wide, which single wide could be anywhere from 500 square feet, maybe up to about 1,400 square feet, $100,000, less than $100,000 to get a single wide home. Double wide manufactured home, which at this point in time, when I tell you, you can walk into some of these homes and your jaw will drop because of how nice they look. These can be anywhere from maybe 800 square feet to 2,000 plus square feet. They've even pieced these homes together to make like these nice ranch style gigantic homes. Yes. They're even like putting manufactured homes, they're kind of blocking them together to make apartments and things of that nature. But for one double wide home, you're still looking at less than $200K to get one of those. 1,500 square feet for a new property, new appliances, new everything, less than half the price of a pre-existing home. That's a good look in my opinion. So something for people to be looking out. There are plenty of dealers out there. All the fun stuff is in the West. So if you're in the West, congratulations. You get a lot of fun categories you can look into. Some of these homes are futuristic. If you're in the South, kind of where I'm at towards the Midwest, you can still get them, but they're going to kind of still look like, they'll look like a home, but they're not going to look like some of these spaceships they're creating in the West and also in Europe.
Yeah. It has to do a lot with like the natural, disasters that we're prone to here in Florida and the Midwest. Tornadoes everywhere. But hurricane season is just you never know when the next one's gonna hit. And then out west, they're dealing with wildfires and earthquakes. Yeah. So where you live, there's going to be some type of climate or natural disaster you have to be concerned about. That's why people from the north decided to move to the south, because they got tired of the cold.
Yeah.
So, but hey, I would like to see cooler homes in Florida. I don't see them too many.
Hey, it was probably 75 degrees today. I'll take Florida any day. I can prepare for a hurricane. I'm loving where I'm at right now. Good. Florida bond program, or at least down payment assistance in general. Got to keep throwing this out there.
Yes.
If you're a first-time home buyer, if you have cash to close, I normally don't recommend down payment assistance programs because they normally come with some sort of cost. Normally that's in a higher monthly payment, even though some of these programs nowadays, Hometown Heroes especially, the interest rate can sometimes be even better with that program than with your normal programs. But in general, if you have the cash to close, which that's probably 5% of first-time home buyers actually have the cash to close, normally they need some cash assistance somewhere. And down payment assistance programs is a great place to get that assistance. Normally $10K all the way up to potentially $25K for majority of programs. Anything you want to say about this?
Give us a call because we will run every scenario with you.
You can know within 24 hours if you can qualify for any of these programs, potential monthly payments, cash to close. Forget all those real estate calculators you see online. That's going to give you a wildly thrown off estimate of where your monthly payment and everything else is going to be at. You must speak with a mortgage lender, in my opinion, and it costs you hardly nothing. The main thing that holds people back is credit. Oh, credit pull is going to hurt my credit. I probably pull 7 to 10 reports a week, and the most I've ever seen is a 1 or 2 point hit. And if a buyer needs to increase their credit, we can increase their credit normally within 20 to 30 points within a few months if they follow our advice, because we do have access to simulators to be able to help someone increase their credit. Austin, Mr. Questions Guy. Any questions on this? Anything you want to add to it?
No, I mean, I second what y'all said. Give a call. There's no better way to find out, how to get to where you're going and find where you're at.
I need to get a photo that got all of us on there. I want to see myself on there. I want to see the whole crew. Who wears a vest anyways? Who does that? Gabriela.
I'll give you the headshots if you want them.
Yeah.
You guys are the experts in this. My job when I answer the phone and somebody asks about down payment assistance is to let them know that we are approved through Florida Housing. And let's see what we can get you approved for. And let me connect you with the loan originator like Jon Johnson and Tanya or anybody else on our team, by the way. So that is my job when it comes to the Florida bond program. Know that it's available. Know that we are approved. And Hometown Heroes that, the individuals that qualify for it, because even in Hometown Heroes, you could be a veteran in active duty as well. And while you may qualify for a VA loan in certain circumstances, the Hometown Heroes program also has that available. So, weigh your options. There's more than just one when it comes out. And there are veterans who don't even use the VA program. They, maybe because it's another home that they're purchasing, whatever the case is. And they have to look at other creative financial ways to purchase homes. So my job is to know enough about that we have these programs so that I can have that kind of conversation with somebody is ready to discuss the process. But get pre-approved, know where you're at so that you can start a plan.
A few things to put about that. When you're speaking with a local lender who is into this, you're not only just speaking to us like you would at the bank. One time you get a little letter and the communication is almost done. We communicate with buyers on a daily basis, text, phone calls, emails, constant updates. Hey, how much would it cost for this home, down payment and cash to close, et cetera, with them throughout the entire time. The pre-approval is kind of like the step one. Once the step one is done, we're on to the next steps. Another quick note about down payment assistance, or at least first-time home buyer, you're considered a first-time home buyer if you haven't purchased a home in 3 years. So if you had a home in 2008, 2010, whatever happened, you sold, short sale, et cetera, as long as you have not owned a property in the last 3 years, you're considered a first-time home buyer. So get out there, speak with us. There's a lot of money out there to help you assist. You're going to have to choose. You're going to have to choose either as a first-time buyer to have a lower cash to close or a lower monthly payment. 95% of the time, you are not going to get both. And as a first-time home buyer, I normally recommend having a lower cash to close because normally I'll give you advice and say, hey, we get lower cash to close. You pay off this one credit card or whatever. That's going to save you $300 a month. It makes the home buying a little bit more affordable for you. And you also still have some cash in your pocket for if you want to be able to use, paint this wall, buy this thing for your home. Because I guarantee you, it normally takes probably 6 to 18 months to kind of get used to where your home is at, to know like which appliances, which things are up to date, which things are not going to break down, and know, hey, I keep hearing this thing with my heater. I've had someone come out for my heater for a couple of months. I may need to get that taken care of in the next 6 to 12 months. It'll take you a bit of time to be able to figure out what's actually going on with your home. It's kind of like buying a used car times 100. So having a little bit extra money in your pocket is going to make you feel more confident with that purchase. Good. We offer niche products. So, of course, we do FHA, conventional, VA, USDA, mobile homes, all of your normal products, which, not even mobile homes. That's not even considered normal because the majority of lenders won't even do that. But single and double wide, but we can. But in addition to that, we also offer products that's like, hey, your standard, loans may not approve you for those because they have very strict guidelines for each one of those. But these loan products actually perform better a lot of times than your normal loans. Like people will be able to stay in these products and be able to not default on their loan, not go on foreclosure, short sale for longer, just because they'll say, hey, all right, you may be foreign and you haven't lived in the States, but you're able to put down 20, 25%, and you also have income somewhere else. That's actually a more qualified buyer, in my opinion. But your standard FHA, conventional, et cetera, may not take that person. Or you also have construction to perm loans where you're able to, in one close, buy a lot, put a home on a lot, get that home built all in one closing. And many times there's down payment assistance for those programs too. Medical doctor loans. There's asset loans where you don't have income, but you have a lot of assets. You also have bank statement loans. That's a very big one, especially this time of the year where people have finished up their year. They're about to start doing taxes. A lot of great products that are out there that are not, your normal conventional products. Tanya.
Bank statement loans. I'm doing one right now. I think they're excellent options for the people that, have businesses and they make a lot of money. But unfortunately, because of COVID and all this stuff, the last 2 years, they reported very little.
Yep.
And they're moving from Pennsylvania, one of those states. And we made it happen with bank statement loans.
Good. Your interest rate is probably going to be a little bit higher, but like with all loans.
It wasn't that bad. It was probably like 1% higher than what we would have.
Yeah. So once again, a little bit higher. It's not going to be astronomically higher. It's not even that bad, like Tanya stated. And you're marrying the home, you're dating the rate. You can refinance a year later, 2 years later, get into a more standard product once you actually be in the home. But in the meantime, get into the home is the most important step. Austin, questions, suggestions? Where's your head at?
The construction farm loan thing, I thought that's cool that you can combine the whole process of buying a lot and building a house on it. We've been doing a lot of calls for land lot loans and promoting that product. So
Yep.
I didn't know that you could combine them until obviously recently.
Yep, you can combine them. Once again, a majority of these products are higher down payment. You're not doing these products at 3% down, 5% down. Majority of them start around 15% down. But if you have the down payment, but you have some other factor that's not allowing you to be able to qualify, there are plenty of products for you. Gabriela, anything else you'd like to add on to this?
One of the really interesting, there's just a lot of really good words to use for niche products is that there are the typical type of loans that are offered that any lender can offer. And then you have what we consider in our product line is these niche products because, Austin just mentioned that, he didn't know construction to perm was one of the options that we have. We have a lot of different portfolio loan products, which means that you can come here and not know if you want to buy a home, but your situation may be unique. We want unique. Give us the challenge of unique because we can try and more than likely find a program that works, a loan product that works for you, or say, hey, this is the plan that you need to work on for the next 6 months, whether it's a credit building, whatever the case is. All this is saying is that you don't know what you don't know until you pick up the phone to make the call.
Sure.
That is the bottom line when it comes to niche products. You don't know.
There's let's say you have 100 lenders. 100 out of 100 can and will do a refinance for an 800 credit score buyer that is just trying to get a lower rate, potentially get cash out, etc. They will always do those. Those are the easiest deals or the simplest deals. And every single person that has a mortgage license will do those. A conventional loan, a majority of lenders would do that. An FHA loan, VA loan, those government loans, you're getting less. You may be getting closer towards maybe 50, 60% of lenders would do those loans.
Good.
And then once you start getting towards the niche products, the ones we're talking about right now, bank statement loans, construction to perm, 203K loans, so trying to fix up a home, etc., down payment assistance loans. Now you're getting into the, hey, maybe only 10 to 25%. And for some of these products, even less than that, can and will do those loans.
Yeah.
Because many buyers, they can throw out some, or many lenders can throw out some marketing for these loans, but they're not closing on them. They don't know how to close on them. They don't have teams that can support that, because this is a team game here. This is not just myself, not just Tanya. It's not Austin. We're not just closing loans by ourselves. There's always us. Many times a transaction coordinator. There's always a processor. There's always an underwriter. There's always a closer, and that's just on the mortgage side. On the real estate side, you're going to have many times a listing agent, a seller's agent. They can have transaction coordinators. You have title companies. There's a lot of people that go into trying to help you close on a loan. And so one part of the piece knows about a product and can talk great about it, but you don't have everyone else involved in the process who knows how to close on this deal. Manufactured homes, we see it all the time because something always comes up with those loans. We close them, so we're used to them. It's not as hard of a process for us. We're better prepared, but something's going to come up, and you got to be able to troubleshoot those. So working with lenders that not just do all the basic ones, just refinance, not just the conventional ones, not just the FHA ones, but that have all of the other tools is a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it the 203 FH loans? The ones that
okay.
The one for Hurricane Ian?
Yes.
Yeah. Something like that.
That was a newer one that came up because of the need that arose, from that. And, a lot of these loan products, they're possible with, we're going to talk about, specifically with us, but, there's other lenders as well. It's because we, our people in the corporate office work with these outside lenders that only offer these type of product lines, and they partner with us so that we can, pre-qualify somebody and say, hey, you meet the criteria for bank statement loan program. And we're going to have somebody that is going to take that loan. We have to make sure we meet all the requirements for it, prepare you for it, and then move the loan along. So what you were saying earlier, that there could be 100 lenders, but of those 100 lenders, not all of them are going to offer something like this. And the only reason why the 203, the rehab one, came up was because that was brought up again this week in one of our calls.
Yeah. And once again, I'm not great at all these different products. Tanya's not great at all these different products. No lender is great at all these different products. Even on your basic FHA conventional loans, us mortgage lenders, but we've all been in the business a decent amount of time. We are going to guidelines. We're going to processing, underwriting. We are asking each other. We are constantly doing this on a daily basis. Hey, so this part of FHA, this question, or I have a buyer that's on X, Y, and Z. Can we do this with that? There's so many niches to every single product. It takes a team to be able to get people through, even if you've been in this for a long period of time. So make sure you're speaking with a team that is about that life. Homestead needs to be filed before March 1st. That's homes. If you bought a home last year, the homestead falls off. You have to reapply by March 1st. Especially in the state of Florida. Otherwise, you're going to see that tax bill increase a lot. It'll probably still increase a decent amount, but you're going to see it increase a lot. Self-employed, like Tanya was saying, if you plan to purchase a home this year, get us a draft copy of your taxes before you officially file them, so we can make sure you qualify for a home or refinance. All right, so we went over a lot of things today. We got through it again. February 2023. We've gone over mortgage rates. We've gone over credit. We've gone over the real estate market. I touched on my baby, which is mobile homes. We talked about some niche products, and also that word.
Believe it or not, I don't think there's really a wrong way to say it.
There's not, but I don't even judge for. Is he saying niche? It should be niche.
I just supported his niche, and I was like, hey, look.
I can't believe you said it like this.
Listen, but if that's what it takes for you to remember
Niche.
this, if that's what it takes to remember this episode,
Say it both ways. Look at you. What did you say? I was saying you're pro what?
Pro options.
Pro options. He's pro options.
Pro options.
What a guy.
Same word, different sayings.
What a guy.
Okay? We're good with
Final
that.
thoughts, Austin. Any questions, last questions, any final opinions, any ahas from the day? Where's your head at right now?
I mean, it seems like the general consensus is to have people call and see where they're at, right? Get pre-approved.
Yeah, that is the general consensus. If you're thinking about it, if you're watching tons of videos, if you're constantly asking uncle and grandma, etc., how to buy a house, you're doing the wrong thing. Even real estate agent, if you're asking your real estate agent what to do right now and you're not pre-approved, you are incorrect, unfortunately. You need to speak with the mortgage lender, one of us, preferably in my opinion, because we're all great. So we can be able to try to get you pre-approved and we can get you moving along that process. Because once you're pre-approved, 24 hours, normally what it takes from I did an application, 24 hours later, I'm pre-approved or I'm not pre-approved, I got to work on these certain steps. If you're pre-approved, now you're doing the fun stuff, which you're going out looking for homes. Mm-hmm. And honestly, for some buyers, that can take only a couple of days. If they're moving quickly, they got a great real estate agent, etc. They find the home, they put an offer in. You can, within a couple of days of doing an application, speak with a real estate agent, you can be under contract. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer, maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months. But step one is to get that pre-approval. Yeah. Tanya, final thoughts?
I agree. Give us a call. Yeah, I'm bilingual as well.
Yeah, there you go. Bilingual. Gabriela, bilingual.
Sí, hablo español. Practice it on a daily basis, actually.
Yes.
We covered a lot. I think just to go into the first quarter of 2023, there is some, optimism. There's also some, hey, things have changed the market. There's more product lines out there for you. And ultimately, it just comes back to you don't know what you don't know until you make a phone call. And while people may have the best intentions in giving you real estate or mortgage advice, unless they're holding a license, then they're just giving you advice. They're not giving you an actual clear path of what you should be doing. And also, when you're choosing your realtor, realtors themselves have niches as well. And the reason why is because some of them like to work with buyers. They love working with buyers. They love that whole process. Some of them only want to work with sellers, and that's their choice as well. So be very choosy who you're working with, because that's the person who's going to work for you. So keep that in mind. And if you have questions, give us a call. Good.
Well, get out there, speak to a mortgage lender, have some fun, enjoy yourself. There is a home for you. Keep working, and we will see you some other time. Bye.
Bye.
Did you really get